This is my review of the eNote by Penstar. It's a tablet made specifically for note-taking. Its screen uses eInk technology instead of LCD, with its own set of advantages and disadvantages for writing, some of which I outline here in this video. It's a part of a category of tablets known as paper replacements, for those looking to go paperless with their writing. Within this category, the eNote is a bit of a divergent in many ways. It has pen-only input in a market that typically allows users to use both touch and pen. It has a row of buttons at a time when most manufacturers are going away from buttons. And it has a very minimal spec sheet at a time when most companies are trying to get bigger and faster. So, do these differences amount to a better user experience and by extension a more intuitive UI? Can the eNote compete in the very competitive space that is e-ink tablets today? Well, let's find out. How's it going, everyone? Roger here, Rants About Tech. If you're new here, welcome. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button for me, please. And to the crew, let's go ahead and run them likes up. Firstly, taking a look at the device, we have dimensions of 266 millimeters by 198 millimeters by 5.9 millimeters. We have a weight of 390 grams, and that is without the folio or the pen attached. Aluminum and plastic make up the materials of the device, with it having an aluminum back and a plastic frame. The buttons, I suspect, are also aluminum as well. The device comes with one speaker. It has a 4-mic array, which I'm assuming is to take full advantage of the dictation feature so that the clarity is at its best. For the internals, we have a 1.8 gigahertz 4-core processor, 2 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes of storage, and a 6,000 milliamp hour battery with a standby time of 120 hours. The screen on the device is a Carta HD display at 10.3 inches, and that will be at 227 ppi for those who care. And it comes with something the company calls Pure View technology, which essentially means that there is no front light, there's no capacitive layer, which means there's no touch input, and no color layer. Because of this, it comes with the shortest pen to display distance I've seen on any e-ink device currently, and it also has the widest display I've seen on any e-ink device currently. Now let's talk about the pen. So as far as the pen is concerned, I'm not sure what technology is behind this particular pen. I'm pretty sure it's not Wacom because it doesn't work with any of my Wacom tablets, of which I have many. And I'm not sure that it is the USI standard that the Remarkable Paper Pro uses right now that doesn't work with any of the other tablets, because this pen doesn't work with the Remarkable Paper Pro. That doesn't mean that it's not the USI standard. That just means it's not likely to be that. So I did reach out to the company, and as of yet I haven't gotten a response of what technology is behind this particular pen. They have qualified that the pen is very expensive and they offer it for free. Again, what does that mean? I'm not sure what the technology is behind this particular pen, but if I do find out, I'll link it somewhere in the comments. What I do know is that the pen comes with 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity, which is about double that of the Wacom standard currently, though I don't see any discernible advantages over the Wacom standard. The pressure sensitivity could be good and I guess useful if it were a drawing app in the actual software, but there isn't one, so very questionable. The body of the pen is acceptable, if not a bit on the cheaper side, but it does come with a button and an eraser, and you get extra nibs in the barrel, the felt and plastic variety. It has a nice weight and features, but like I said, just feels and looks a little bit on the cheap side. And it's not the plastic nature of the pen that makes it feel cheap. The SuperNote does a plastic pen and they do that very well. It's the type of plastic used, it's the molding line that runs down the length of the pen, and it's also the cheap plastic clip. So not only does the device come with a pen, it also comes with a cover of the half folio variety that magnetically attaches to the device. It's made of vegan leather with a cloth type of trim. It sleeps and wakes the device when it's opened and closed, and it has very nice neutral colors with the gray tones that they chose. Next, we're going to move on to the UI. So the design of the UI is simple, with very fine lines, creating an understated look with only selected elements showing any pop. Navigating with pen input works well throughout the UI selecting elements. The buttons also do a good job of navigating if you have them programmed to do so. Totally separate navigation buttons will be helpful here, for times when you don't have the pen, don't want to use the pen, or for times when pen input is just not as intuitive as buttons. The UI also features a global handwriting box, where handwriting is accepted system-wide. The handwriting box appears whenever you tap on a text box and allows you to input handwriting that is then converted into text. This essentially means this device allows you to use handwriting for everything, and I love that. The eNote has a basic set of settings, but they include most, if not all, of what you might need to get the job done. And if you want more information about the topics I'm covering today on the eNote here, I have links in the description of videos that I've done detailing these topics in way more depth. All right, back to the review. Next, let's talk about apps. So the eNote comes with 4 main apps that you would want in a day planner style device like this. And those would be Calendar, Email, Notes, and a Reader. The eNote comes with other apps as well, like a calculator and a recorder for dictation, and I detail these apps and more in a separate video that I will link in the description. So there is no app store to download third-party apps onto the eNote. You can put third-party apps on the device, but you have to download the APKs and slide load them in that way. The device did come with the third-party app Chromium, probably side loaded at the factory, and it does work as expected. Now let's talk about Penstar's services for the device. So for backup options, Penstar has the Penstar account syncing service, where you get 10 gigabytes of free online storage to back up and sync your calendar apps and your notes app. And you get cloud drive support through Google Drive, OneDrive, and Dropbox. Export only, no imports. There's only one way to transfer files in and out of the device, and that's through the Wi-Fi transfer app. You can access your files through an Android app, iOS app, iPadOS app, and through a PC app. But currently there is no Penstar app in the Mac App Store, which, like, why? All right, let's talk about the device overall and some of the good and not so good aspects of it. One of the biggest things I like about this device is its pen-only input and how it alters the way you think about and use the device. The next big thing would be the PureView display. It's the brightest eInk display I've tested on any device so far, and because it doesn't have a capacitive touch layer, it doesn't have a color layer, and it doesn't have a front light layer, it brings the eInk closer to the pen surface than any other device that I've tested as well. The options and tools in this particular device can be appreciated as well, because they give you just enough to be useful without being complicated, and that should be applauded. Lastly, the buttons on this device are super refreshing. They give you a tactile way to interface with your particular device that you won't get in many other devices of this type and caliber. I just wish they gave you a dedicated row of navigation buttons to help with PDF viewing and for times when you just don't want to use the pen. I mean, I know it's going all in on buttons, but I mean, you got them. Why not? Now on to some things that aren't so good about the tablet. And first up, we have one of the things that I thought was the best thing about the tablet, the pen-only input. Which brings me to the fact that it's so challenging to navigate PDFs and images that the pen-only input almost becomes a liability. One of my biggest gripes about this device is really a little thing, but becomes big if you move a lot of files. And that's the fact that you can't copy and duplicate files and folders, only pages. So if you want to move files and folders, you have to have a destination already made, copy the pages inside the said file or folder, then move those pages over to the new location. Super tedious when it doesn't really have to be. Lastly, people may take issue with the exclusive pen tech for a couple reasons. The first thing that gets me about the pen's exclusivity is why? Does it offer anything above and beyond what we're using today? And the answer to that is no. So if it's not offering anything better, why is it proprietary? And that brings me to my next point. If people are forced to use the pen that it came with for no real advantage, they may want to use the pen that they've spent a lot of money on, that they like already, that they've customized the way that they want, and those pens simply won't be compatible with this device. So again, why? All right, those are going to be my overall points about the device. Now let's go to my final thoughts. So just how does the Penstar eNote compare to other eInk devices on the market? Let's take a look. As far as specs go, they're on par with the Remarkable 2, a device that still sells well today. It has best-in-class screen clarity, best-in-class battery size at 6,000 milliamp hours, a free highest tier quality pen, and what I mean by that is most companies charge extra for a pen that comes with just an eraser. This pen has an eraser and a button, and you get it for free. So that's a plus in my book. It also comes with a free folio case. So as far as the hardware goes, it's pretty much in line with what you'd expect to get today and kind of on par with what other devices are doing as well. But when we talk about software, this device sits right in that Goldilocks zone of settings where it's not simple like the SuperNote that leaves you kind of wanting more if you're like me and want lots of options. It's not as basic as the SuperNote, which it doesn't really leave you wanting more because it has everything you need, but I could use more. It has just a little bit more than the SuperNote, but not as complicated and as complex as the Books platform. So that is a very fine line to straddle, and they do it very well. It has all the essential apps and comes with a very good Notes app and a very good Reader app. So when we talk about price, what we're really talking about is the value you get for the money spent. And the eNote here comes in at a lower price point than the other competitors in this particular class of device. So who is this device for? From the marketing and the aesthetics of the device, I say that this device is geared more towards business professionals, most of which only need pen input for their digital note-taking. But I also think anyone fed up with palm rejection not being the best right now would appreciate this approach as well. Real deal e-ink heads would also appreciate the screen whiteness and its pen to display ratio. Even more casual e-ink enthusiasts would appreciate the level of control the settings give you without being complicated. With a feature-rich Notes app and Reader app, the widest display I've seen on any e-ink device to date, the shortest pen to display distance, a competent if not doable input scheme, I would recommend this device to anyone who sees the pen-only input as a selling point. I mean, you have everything here you need for more than most workflows. As long as you can accept the shortcomings, that pen-only input may be worth it for you. But if the pen-only input isn't the selling point for you, then it's going to make dealing with the shortcomings I talked about even more difficult. All right, everyone. I hope that helped someone out today. I hope you got some value from the video, and if you did, go ahead and subscribe. And if you liked it, go ahead and like. Don't forget I have links of other eNote content in the description if you want a more detailed look at some of the topics I've covered here today. All right, until next time, take care.